said it in my last video at the very end, but we are now finally going to be doing a review and function test of the Radian Weapons Model 1. This is a gorgeous gun, super rugged, extremely rigid, and ribbed for your pleasure. So here it is. I went ahead and took apart the Radian Model 1 just so I could give you a breakdown of how I have it set up. Let's just go ahead and start with the lower. It is called the ADAC lower, ambidextrous dual action catch, and they put it next to this because in addition to being a magazine catch and release, that actually is your bolt catch as well, which is pretty freaking cool. This is your bolt release, or your slide release. Or, no, that was a bolt release. I've been used to playing with pistols.
Yeah.
On this side, got your ambidextrous mag release, your enhanced. I like that large paddle. That large paddle is freaking awesome. Love it. Kind of reminds me of the SIG bolt release.
Geisley makes one very similar too.
And I like how everything's kind of over molded on here. I'm not sure if that's the correct term when you're talking about aluminum. But they put all their information here. And so I really love the Talon, the Radian Talon. It's a 45-degree lever, super crisp, nice and crisp. And then we have the AR Gold trigger in here. If you can get...
Kind of.
Yep.
Kind of. Yeah, and that thing is about as large as an eyelash, the trigger.
I mean, it's definitely built for speed and precision. I mean, I love it. So one cool thing that I really like about this lower, just in the machining of it, because it's all completely and incredibly beautiful, is flared magwell. They put the Radian symbol under there as well. But some people may have or may not have noticed that if you look at the design of the PMags, it's actually the same machining that they put on here, which I thought was just an amazing touch. I mean, it's brilliant. So let's get that out of here. And now there is a sling point right here. Ambidextrous, of course, that's why they put it right there in the middle. Really nice steel insert in there with an aluminum housing for it. And that's pretty much the lower. I love it. There isn't anything I do not like about it. They even threw their symbols there on the takedown levers, or takedown pins. All right, so that's the lower. We got that out of the way. Let's go on to the BCG. This is kind of crazy because it does come with the black nitrided Radian Insignia BCG, and there's nothing wrong with that. There isn't anything wrong with that. The only reason I went ahead and got an LWRC BCG in there is
with the Reliabolt.
Yep, got a Reliabolt and the Patriot Ordnance Factory POF roller cam pin is because I am trying to build this rifle to where it will outlast anything else on Earth. I mean, one solid piece of steel. For this, it is nickel boron coated. You might be wondering why this is a piston bolt carrier, because the Radian Model 1 is not a piston rifle. Well, that's because I converted mine to be piston. I'm a big fan of pistons. LWRC, aside from this, is actually my favorite rifle brand. I've owned about 10 of them and have never had a single problem. So I wanted this because all around, I like the Radian Model 1 more than I do any of my LWRCs. But I wanted it to run a little bit more clean, a little bit smoother. Not that it doesn't run smooth enough, but...
So I don't know if I can get in there. There's the piston system right under the maul there.
And it is superlative arms, is the piston system conversion I got.
Superlative. So why don't you talk about this barrel?
So,
if I can get in there.
If you can notice...
Now turn it back down this way. There you are.
You can kind of see it in there.
There it is.
That is a carbon fiber barrel. So yes, this is a proof research barrel that I put in there. Also going back to wanting this thing to outlast anything else on the market, I decided to get a proof research barrel so I'm not having to deal with that heat. And aside from that, it's the best accuracy money can buy for an AR type barrel. So that was a no-brainer. However, it took several months to come in because 14.5-inch proof research barrel, believe it or not, is highly sought after, and they were back ordered for quite a while. Finally got it in, and the accuracy is marginal over the Schillen barrel that Radian includes with this rifle. It's already highly match grade. I didn't notice much of a group difference, this carbon fiber barrel versus the Schillen barrel that they have in it. However, now I'm not having to deal with any heat. There's no point of impact shift after your cold bore shot. So, and then you can rapid fire this thing all day long, and your hand guard isn't going to start heating up and burning your hand even through your gloves sometimes.
So without, as simple as you make it sound, just throwing a bunch of money in, it wasn't that simple with the piston system from Superlative Arms.
No.
And to put this rail on. This rail actually had to have some milling done to it on the inside, correct?
Yep. And so
I think you can see the marks in there, maybe, where you actually have to drill in to get the piston system installed.
The gas block on this is not low profile, so I did have to mill up from about here all the way to about right there. And it took some time. I couldn't find anybody who would do it for me, so I decided to do it myself. And I mean, if it got messed up, it got messed up. It's a freaking rifle. I built this thing to, go to war essentially, and a little scratch on it's not going to make me upset. It doesn't change the functionality of anything. It doesn't affect performance at all. So, I have a piston system in here just because I wanted the inside of the receivers just to be a little bit cleaner.
Because you do run suppressed most of the time.
Yes.
Right.
And this Superlative Arms gas block does have the bleed off system, which they are known for. And so even shooting suppressed, you still get a little bit of gas blowback here in the receivers, but not that much. Most of it's coming back out around here, just shoots right back out. So on here, I'm running the Silencer Co. Omega 300 cal, or 30 cal, whatever you want to call it, Omega 300. And love the suppressor. I've put many thousand rounds through it. It holds up. It's extremely quiet. The only reason I don't have it direct threaded onto this rifle is because I have another Radian Model 1 in SBR format coming in. So this is going to be direct threaded onto that rifle, or SBR, and we are going to buy a different suppressor for this rifle.
Probably a Saker.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting the Saker. And it'll be dedicated on here. All right. Most people know what this is. That is the Tango Down Stubby. So stubby. I like the stubby. It's really modular. I'm not holding it from down here, which is why I didn't get a full-length one. I don't hold it like that. I'll hold it like this.
Right, because you need to be able to pivot to access your controls on the top.
Yep. And so, might be wondering, well, doesn't that get in the way of your fingers? Not really. It doesn't bother me at all. I haven't had any issues with that. I am running a Streamlight ProTac on here. Some people might be wondering, well, why are you running a flashlight that's only 350 lumens? Well, because I run night vision, and I'm not trying to blast 1,000 lumens and ruin your body's natural night vision. Your eyes adjust to dark lighting or no light, and if you just decide to turn on 1,000 lumen light when your eyes have already adjusted, you're going to lose all that, and it's going to take a while to get it back. So I have kind of a low lumen light on here.
People also need to understand it's how concentrated the lumens are.
Yeah,
Also, because if you take a high concentrate of only 300 lumens straight to the face, it's still gonna hurt. It's still gonna bring you down to your knees.
Yep, absolutely. So if I wanted to be able to see everything, I flip down to my night vision and turn this thing on illuminator. And
So yeah, talk about what this is. Like it's nothing special.
all right, so
This thing costs as much as in an entire rifle setup.
yeah, so the the price point on this was $2,600. This is the B.E. Myers Mall C1 Plus. That is the civilian model. Compared to other night vision illuminating devices and laser PEC boxes, whatever you want to call them, this is by far, in my opinion, superior to everything else that's out there.
Absolutely, because we've had all three. PEC 15,
D-ball, all that stuff.
Yeah, we've had them all. And I haven't had to play with this yet, but I'll take your word for it, man.
And so, some people also might be wondering, why aren't you running a Surefire? Surefire is tried and true and yada, yada, yada. Well, I have always been a fan of Streamlight. It's always been good enough for me. I don't...
I mean, have you ever had one fell on you? Because I've never had one fell
Never.
on me.
I mean, I bought my first handheld Streamlight flashlight like 15 years ago, and that thing's still kicking. It's amazing. They also have lifetime warranty. I did buy a TLR2, and the battery hatch compartment was broken when I bought it. I didn't realize it because he had it clamped down, but it was broken. I sent an email to Streamlight. They don't need to see my receipt or anything. They sent me a new battery compartment door.
Absolutely.
Just like that. So lifetime warranty. They stand behind their product. You're getting the same quality as a Surefire. You're just not paying for that Surefire name because Surefire has a military contract. And if you're wondering, Streamlight caters to all of the police departments and
Yeah, mostly you see Streamlight in law enforcement. You see Surefire in military. Right?
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about these optics now, man.
Okay, so some people might be wondering why I have this kind of setup and I'm not running an ACOG or an LCAN or something like that.
Because everybody runs those.
Well,
No, I just...
my first choice was the Leupold LCO. I wanted that just because really rugged, thick housing, although it is a little bit smaller than your average EOTech, the EXPS.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's about the same size as mine.
It's a little shorter.
Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. It is.
But then I saw the Leupold D-EVO in a shooting magazine about 5 years ago, and I thought to myself, man, if that concept actually works and you can use that in a combat environment or just a daily situation that you probably won't ever find yourself in, it'd be pretty cool. So if you look at it, bunch of mirrors in here. So it's basically peeking around your red dot, your one-time magnification or no magnification, whatever you want to call it, peeks around it, and it has a reticle in there. I believe it's the CMR reticle, and it has BDC in there, so you can make adjustments for windage and elevation, all that stuff. So, or bullet drop, I mean. So I've found this to be extremely useful to me, just because the only other options out there are having a like an ACOG with an RMR on top, which is a great combo. I didn't like it personally. I did try it out for a little while, so yes, I did try it. But once I got my hands on this, there was no going back. I love it. So it peeks around, and you don't have to move your head. You're not having to really play with your cheek weld at all, because all you have to do is you're looking at that red dot, and all you have to do is adjust your eye down, and then boom, 6 times magnification. Leupold doesn't have a military contract, so a lot of people might knock it because
I don't know about that, man. I've seen some snipers in the military that had Leopolds on their.
Well, definitely for some precision rifles or some DMRs.
Right. I don't believe they have contracts, but I believe they definitely use them. I've seen them.
And some people might be wondering, it's like, well, why do you think this is any better than those other things that do have military contracts? Well, for one, Leupold is not going to get a military contract with the price point on this. They're not going to they're not going to be able to discount this enough for the military to justify them buying it from Leupold. It's as simple as dollars and
Same
cents.
reason you don't see every grunt with a maul.
Yeah.
You know, they're still running PEQs.
But Leupold does have lifetime warranty, so I really don't have anything to worry about. Couple thousand rounds through this particular rifle. Never had any problems with adjustments. I mean, you know, that's not going to mess with this at all. It's still going to be dead on.
Well, let's put it together and shoot it, man.
Oh, and also the Raptor SD charging handle. This is freaking awesome. So this is optimized for suppressor use. Any gases that escape, you know, they obviously come in here, and then they go up and get pushed back out, up and forward. So you don't have any gases being sprayed back into your face.
Yeah, because that shit's annoying.
And, you know, it'll make your eyes water up. It's tough.
It's a good way to cry in front of your grown friends.
All right. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention. I am running a JP Enterprises silent capture system in here. If you want, you know, or if you're tired of that cheese grater sound, I believe is how they market the standard buffer spring sound.
Bill Geisley has a great video talking about why that happens in ARs. It's just a chinging sound, yeah, and yeah, definitely one of the smoothest rifles I've ever shot.
It's quiet, especially if you're using a suppressor. I do run subsonics in some situations, so.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. The weight on this rifle, how smooth the bolt carrier is, how just smooth everything is with the suppressor. It's like shooting a fucking airsoft gun. Like, no joke. All right, let's put it together and let's put the suppressor on there.
All right, so, well, before I get going, let's talk about the ammo I'm using. I'm using Federal Frangible Ammos. I don't remember the actual designation for them. XM something.
For people who don't understand, they basically disintegrate as soon as they hit the steel, so you're not...
It's compressed copper powder.
Yeah, so
is what it is.
We're not in any danger.
Yeah, we can shoot steel targets at this distance, so we don't have to worry about, you know, any fragments coming back and hitting us in the eye or whatever. So
I'm worried about my dick, not my eyes.
All right.
My turn. Man, you couldn't reset. Where's the fucking second one?
It's halfway back. Come on, man. Let's go.
Not bad. A lot of shit with this brake, though.
So unfortunately, I didn't have as much time to pew at the range as I thought I was going to. I wanted to get a little bit more in depth with the Radian Model 1, but there were some things that just didn't cross my mind at the time, things I forgot to mention. One of them being that I am using a Lantec Dragon ASR. So it's the revered Lantec Dragon with the Silencer Co. ASR threads on there, which is awesome because I'm a huge fan of the Lantec Dragon. I actually had them on all my rifles for quite some time until I started running suppressed, and then I found this bad boy not too long ago, and so now that's on every rifle that I have, other than short barrel rifles, because an SBR with a break on there is not a whole lot of fun. So you may have noticed in the video that there were some gases coming out, and that actually has to do with the type of ammo we were using. That frangible ammo doesn't do so well with suppressors, or at least that particular type from Federal. So essentially the projectile is falling apart inside the barrel, so it was just spewing out a lot of gas. I don't know if you can see that the muzzle brake looks copper. That's because it's all that copper dust bonding to it. So that's what all those gases were. When you're using just regular full metal jacket, you really don't have a whole lot of gas coming back at you. So that's kind of a bummer. Honestly, the only reason I ever shoot frangibles is just so I can shoot steel in that 35-yard bay that they have at the range. So y'all got to see how it's shot. It's really flat. This is kind of a robust rifle. It's a little heavy. I really don't mind it. I do a little test, which is to hold out the rifle from the grip with one arm, just straight out like that. And if you can hold it there, then it's not too heavy. So that's been my little test. Works for me. Anything that I haven't been able to comfortably hold with one arm, I find some way to shed weight from it. And let's see. Right now, I do have the maul on here. You might be wondering why I have such a weird setup, why it's placed the way it is. Well, honestly, the maul is going to be on my SBR. I have another Radian Model 1 coming in. That one's in tungsten gray. This one is brown or bronze. I forget what they call it. I think it's Radian brown. But I have a Model 1 SBR on the way. It is back ordered. Hopefully I should have it here in the next 2 weeks or so. But ultimately, this is not going to live on this rifle. It's going to go on the SBR. It's also going to sit further up. And the Silencer Co. Omega that I was using on this rifle is going to be on that SBR. It's going to be dedicated suppressed rifle. It's night fighting rifle, or really any situation rifle. You know, obviously you're not going to reach out to 600 yards with a 10.5-inch barrel, but I can comfortably hit my target dead on at 300, so that's good enough for me. Past 300 yards, you really can't tell what you're looking at, and if you're running an SVR, you may have a 3-time magnification optic, flip side magnifier or something. I will not put a D-EVO on the SBR. I'm probably just going to get an EOTech setup on there and call it a day. Some people like to use frangibles for home defense just because they do essentially just disintegrate and fall apart. So they like to use them so you're not shooting through several walls in your house. I actually run Hornady Tap. That's my preferred home defense and just combat round. Right now I have all my mags and my grab and go gear loaded up with Hornady Tap. You should check out the reviews on that stuff, the ballistic gel tests and everything. It's an amazing round. So that's my go-to. As of right now, the Radian Model 1 14.5-inch is my go-to until I get that second one. But it's an amazing rifle. I've owned some LaRue rifles, LWRC. I had the Lantag Raven for a while, which is actually a pretty cool rifle. But I didn't think it was the best out there. One of the main reasons I love this rifle so much is the mounting system for the rail or handguard. There is a little pin in here that mates with the upper receiver, and if you can see that machining, it's really precise. Everything is mated together. When they build these, they build them in sets. They don't just build one at a time. That way they can get all the tolerances really tight, perfect, smooth. Everything lines up. There are no sharp edges, no protrusions. But the mounting system is awesome. It's similar to Daniel Defense's, but Daniel Defense has them, you know, on the outside, where these just go straight down through, connect to those, tighten, and it's just extremely rigid. I haven't found any other rifle on the market that has a more sturdy feel and performance than this one. However, with that kind of performance, you know, you're looking at a pretty hefty price tag, around $2,500. They're not in stock anywhere. Or, I take that back. I spoke too soon. You can find like 17-inch models of 223 wild barrels. You can find those in stock. There's only a couple of them floating around. Another thing I will say is that even on gun listing websites, you can't even find them because people get these things and they just fall in love with them. In my opinion, it's superior to everything. And as I said before, I'm a huge fan of LWRC, and I think this beats it out. Not by a whole lot, but I think it is a better rifle. LWRC is my second choice just because the forged upper and lower, it's piston. I like how you can take the top cover of the handguard off and access your piston rod and your op rod, the piston cup, and all that. So it's easy to maintain out in the field. No tools are required. This one, the gas block is, let's see if I can, yeah, so right in there. It is adjustable. I have really long Allen wrenches that I keep in my range bag that fit in here, so you can adjust it. Right now it's adjusted perfectly for suppressed and non-suppressed use. It cycles fine. Everything's cycling at the proper ejection area, so it's just been the perfect rifle. Is the perfect way to say it is it's a perfect rifle. There's nothing about it that I don't like, and even though I did things to it, it was fine the way it was. I just couldn't leave well enough alone and had to modify it, make it my own. Because now it truly is one of a kind. Nobody else has a piston-operated Radian Model 1, or even one with a proof research barrel for that matter. I did use the proof research barrel. I forgot to mention that another reason I chose the proof research barrel, besides accuracy and not as much heat, is you're also shedding about half a pound off of the bull barrel, or not bull barrel, the heavy profile barrel that was on here. So there's 6 ounces. I mean, every ounce counts, especially when you're going to be running extra weight at the end of your rifle. So, yeah, that's the Radian Model 1. I don't think you can beat it, and if something can beat it, then I'll probably buy it. All right, guys, well, that's about it. If you have any questions or comments, just, leave them in the comments section, like, subscribe, share. Thanks for watching, guys.